What is up, guys? It's Mega giving you yet another deck for Link Evolution. Today, guys, we're going to see if the Time Lords, Lords of Yu-Gi-Oh! And no, not the Time Lords of Dot 2, are any good in this game. Please bear in note, this is one of my favourite decks from the original Art5, well, from Art5's anime, powered by a zone. They were just a series of monsters that are like, can't be destroyed in battle, can't be destroyed by card effects, and all damage is 0, then an effect will go off. Obviously, in this game, there are many ways around it, simply because they are vulnerable from being targeted. So we've had some little bit of spice to this deck, hopefully to make it any good. So guys, let's see if the Lords of Time are any good. So if you are struggling to make this deck or any deck shown so far, check out the card hub. Now, tell you if a card is in this game or not, tell you where to find like any campaign jewel, any challenge mode jewel, or any card pack. So please check it out. And with that, let's get into the video. First off, guys, is that lone copy of Cyframe driver. We are running this because we are running that gamma, because we have that little bit of gamma protection from monster effects. But in order for gamma, you do need to run that run driver. So we use a garnet, but if anything, you can discard him if you need be, but it comes in handy sometimes. And then onto some hand traps. We're holding 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Fantastic hand trap. Makes life easier because when your opponent has a card from the deck to the hand, special from the deck, or sends a card from the deck to the grave, she just shuts them down. And a lot of cards pretty much allow you to search, special one, or just mill your deck. So Ash Blossom just shuts all of them down. Have a nice day. Now we're running 2 copies of Hop Ear Squadron. Now this is kind of like a hand trap because during your opponent's main phase, you can summon it to the field and immediately synchro summon with one of our monsters. All of our Time Lords are level 10, so you can special summon this and go into a Time Lord to special summon that Geomath Mech Final Sigma, which is kind of like a Time Lord in himself, really, because your Time Lords have effects that can't be destroyed by battle by card effects. Sigma is just immune to all card effects while in the extra monster card zone, so you kind of have an extra monster in play to push for damage if you need be, and it's all because of this little guy. And then on some Time Lords, guys, we are running 2 copies of Lazion. Lazion is a really great one. So like I say, all Time Lords have an effect where if you control no monsters, you can summon them without a tribute, which is kind of nice because obviously they are all level 10, and obviously they can't be destroyed in battle, or by card effects, and you take no battle damage. But of course, since they have low attack points, if your opponent has like, I don't know, Effect Velo or Infinite Permanence, yep, the effects are going to be negated, so they're basically 0 attack point vanilla monsters, so you're going to take a lot of damage. All Time Lords also share an effect where at the end of the battle phase, if they attacked, an effect will trigger, and also during your next standby phase, you shuffle them back into the deck, because obviously having a monster that's like immune to damage and battle and card effects constantly would kind of be broken. So Lazion is kind of unique to the other ones because he has an effect outside of the battle phase. So if Lazion, if your opponent draws a card, they take 1,000 points of damage, which is actually pretty nice for burn damage. And also, should Lazion attack, all cards in your opponent's graveyard return to the deck. So obviously, some people like their graveyard stacked, like Salmon Great love their graveyard stacked. I say Dark Magician kind of because of the monster he bought, or because of the like Eternal Souls to resurrect cards, stuff like that. So any deck that kind of loves the graveyard, Lazion just denies them that purpose. 2 copies of Meteion the Time Lord. When this bad boy attacks, or attacked, all monsters on the field other than Meteion return to the hand, and your opponent gets 300 points of damage for each card return. So he does bounce your own monsters. But again, if you have Final Sigma in play, Sigma is immune to card effects, so Meteion can't bounce him back to our extra deck, so he's kind of decent. And then 2 copies of Michion the Time Lord. So I've decided to focus on Time Lords, guys, that deal effect damage. Obviously, there's a 1 or 2 we're not running, but these are the ones I specifically like. So with Michion, if she engages in battle, your opponent's life points are halved, sliced in half straight away. Comes in handy, and I just found really great, because of course halving your opponent's life points is key, because for instance straight out of the bat she can deal 4,000 points of damage because your opponent's life points is 8,000, and then it's just easier. We've got 2 copies of Nibiru. I've decided to run Nibiru because he gives us a little bit more protection. Because against a lot of decks, like combo decks, like you can go up against like Heroes, Salamangreats, any deck that's running the Auroradon combo, you can get against Rockets, the All-Light Special Summon, or even Frogs as well. The All-Light Special Summon about 90 times a turn. Sacrifice all monsters on the field. Special Summon Nibiru, because if your opponent summons 5 or more monsters in one turn, every monster on the field gets tributed. You special summon a Nibiru to your side of the field. Then you summon a Nibiru token to your opponent's side of the field, whose attack and defense is equal to all monsters tributed. So 9 times out of 10, we're going to have a Time Lord in play, which has 0 attack and defense. So you are pretty much giving your opponent a zero attack and defense game, so it's all monsters on their side of the field will equal the attack points. The Nibiru is just good against all combo decks, so it just shuts them down and stops them doing their plays. Then we've got those 3 copies of Cyframe Gear Gamma. I decided to run Gamma because it was just I needed some form of protection against like monster effects and also hand traps. So if you control no monsters, which is actually very common in this deck, because obviously if you don't draw a Time Lord or if you don't get away to special summon one via Time Maiden, you're not really going to have a lot of monsters in play. So having that Gamma is really nice, because should your opponent activate a monster effect, which is actually the most common effect going, you can, while you control no monsters, you can negate the effect, special summon Gamma, and a Cyframe Driver from your hand, deck, or grave, and then there you go. And obviously if you do it during your turn, your monster's going to be in play. You could link summon into Lambda if you have another Gamma, so in case you have another Gamma, or you could just go explosive and like tribute them both for a Time Lord, or you can go into a level 8 synchro play, up to you. But I just found Gamma was just great to help me negate cards. And then we're running 2 copies of Rathion the Time Lord. If Rathion attacks a monster at the end of the battle phase, you target one monster on the field that Rathion attacked. Obviously it's going to be run near enough, and you inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack. So a nice little combo, guys, is to combine Rathion with Nibiru, because if you tributed all monsters on the field and give your opponent like any monster with like 9,000 or something attack points, then you summoned out Rathion attack, you're going to wipe your opponent out in one turn. So it's really great, I found. So Nibiru was a nice addition. I decided to run 3 copies of Sandion because I found Sandion to be kind of decent compared to the others, because Sandion is the only one with attack points. He's kind of like a double-edged sword. Because he has attack points, he isn't searchable with Time Maiden, but because he has attack points, he can get over big threats like Cyber Dragon Infinity and all that lot, because obviously he can just smash into them. And obviously if Rathion still engages in the battle, all damage is 0, unfortunately. So if Rathion attacks into a monster at the end of the damage phase, your opponent takes 2,000 points of damage. A nice little combo, guys, is to merge Michion and Sandion, because if you get both of them in the field at the same time, which is actually pretty easy to do, you attack with Michion, you attack with Sandion. Michion puts your opponent down to 4,000, Sandion puts them down to 2,000. You exceed summon into Gustav Max and go for the win, because that's a nice little OTK that this deck can actually produce. Then we've got 3 copies of Time Maiden. She's kind of like a little baby version of the Time Lords. So if you control no monsters, you can special summon her, which is really nice. She is a level 1 as well, so you can link her away to Link Karibo. And she has an effect where she just counts 2 tributes for a Time Lord if you want to tribute summon her. And you can tribute it straight off the field if you want to add a Time Lord monster from your deck to your hand, but it has to have 0 attacks. That's why I'm saying you can't search her out with Sandion, or you can't search Sandion with her, because obviously Sandion has 4,000 attack points. And she does have an effect where you can banish her from your grave to special summon a Time Lord monster with 0 attack from your deck. However, you can't special summon other monsters during the turn you activate this effect. So that means if you did special summon a monster, you can't play Time Maiden's effect from your graveyard. It does happen, so you have to. So basically, you can't like special summon Time Maiden to search a card and then banish her to search out another one. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Like if you normal summoned her and did it that way, yeah, you could do it that way, but you can't special summon her and then try and trigger her effect. Then we're running that 1 copy of Zathion. I decided to limit this card down to 1 because I needed the space, and also is the only one that doesn't deal like burn damage in a way. So when Zathion attacks, all spell and traps, or at the end of the battle phase, all spell and traps your opponent has get shuffled into the deck. Really great against back row decks. And also, if this card goes from the field to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So if you did do that that hop here Squadrons effect and go into Final Sigma, because she's gone to the grave, you get to draw an additional card, which is actually kind of great. Or if you use the next card we're going to talk with, which is Advanced Draw, where you get to tribute a monster you have attribute a level 8 or higher monster you have in play and draw 2 cards. If you use that effect on Zaphion, you're going to draw an additional card because of Zaphion's own effect. So pretty much you get to draw 3 cards off Advanced Draw, which is actually pretty nice. And then we're running 2 copies of Celestial Transformation because all your Time Lords are fairy monsters, so this lets you special summon any of your Time Lords. That monster attack is halved, obviously, majority of them have 0 attacks, that doesn't really affect them, and it is destroyed during the end phase. But again, a Time Lord can't be destroyed, so basically you can just special summon any one of your Time Lords for free. This is what it's all about. So again, with the Michion and Sandion, this card is key to special summon them both, so you can go into your Gustav Mac OTK. Then running that to Foolish Burial, this gets Time Maiden to the graveyard, so you can just remove it from play and summon a Time Lord. And as for Monster Reborn, because again, if you played Advanced Draw, you're tributing your Time Lord, it goes to the grave, or if your opponent forces you to discard one, or even when you Synchro Summoned your way, you play Monster Reborn to bring back your Time Lord, which is pretty nice, but also, if your opponent has cards in the grave, you can obviously just steal your opponent's monster and go off a big beatdown. And then we're using that 1-for-1 because again, you want to try and get a Time Maiden special summoner, then you can just tribute an effect to get off a Time Lord, and then of course she's in the graveyard, so you can just banish her next turn to special summon another Time Lord. It's also about 1-for-1 just helps you get to those access. Now for the trap cards, I did decide to cut out the machine engine because normally in every single deck I've seen trying to build in this, everyone just runs 3-0, runs 3 empty machine, 1 infinity machine, and the other one, the I think it's Infinite Machines Aerith or whatever it's called. Let's have a look. Infinite Light. Sorry. So people always run 3 of these, one infinite machine and 1 infinite light. I just found them to be really dead and really bad garnets. I really hated them because, say for instance, you drew infinite light. It's useless. You can't play it because you need the other cards. So I decided to just cut them out. I don't want them. I'd rather have a card I could play, so I could not use them. So but I still decided to just run that 1 copy of Empty Machine because of its draw effect. Because I found I just wanted to just draw those extra cards and also get some monster in the grave so I can play Monster Reborn. Because once per turn you can play one of these effects where you can discard a level 10 monster and draw a card. So again, drawing that key card would be nice. And again, if you did have Monster Reborn, you can just resurrect the Time Lord you just sent to the graveyard anyway. But like I say, guys, I can't play this card's second effect to basically set Infinite Machine because I just found it to just be a dead herring. Because majority of the time it would be like I have Infinite Machine in my hand. Can't play it because I need to play Empty Machine first. So that's why I was like, you know what? Get rid of them. I don't want dead cards like that in my hand, like that in my deck. Get rid of them. So I'm running 3 copies of Infinite Impertinence. This is a hand trap as well, guys, because if you have no cards, you can activate from your hand. Infinite Impertinence is just a better version of Effect Veiler because Effect Veiler can be called by the grave, which negates its effect. Infinite Impertinence can't be called by the grave because it's a trap card. And it also has another effect where if you set it and then activated it, any spell or trap that activates in the same column for the rest of the turn also has its effect negated, which is actually pretty nice. And then we're running 2 copies of Summon Limit because with this it slows your opponent down. Slowing down to our game. Time Lords like to play a very slow game if they can't burn quickly. So this just helps you do it because this restricts both players to only summoning twice per return. So that really comes in handy. It does counter Nibiru because Nibiru requires you to have 5 cards, but if you have Nibiru in hand and obviously you have Summon Limit set, judge the situation if you want to play Nibiru or Summon Limit. Play obviously which one requires you to do it first. If you catch Midriff, don't just assume, oh, they're going to play 5 cards and just leave Summon Limit. Like, judge the situation, but because of this and Nibiru, it kind of slows both your opponents down. You've got like 4 cards to like slow your opponents down. And then we're running 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. I found with Torrential Tribute, it comes in play very nice because Time Lords and Sigma can't be destroyed by card effects. So you could just play Torrential Tribute. If you've got a Time Lord in play, your opponent summons a monster, wipe the field, your monsters remain on the field because obviously they can't be destroyed by card effects. And Final Sigma is just immune to card effects, so he's not even affected by Torrential Tribute. Onto some monsters, guys. We are running a couple. I'm running 3 level 8s because I did find in a situation when I did play, well, in testing, I did Gamma's effect. Like, my opponent tried to do something, so I played Gamma's effect during my turn, and I had it and Drive on the field. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to synchro my way into a decent level 8 monster that will come in play. So that's what I decided to do, and I decided to run 3 level 8 generic monsters that I found come really useful. One of them is Drago Berserker of the Tenji. So during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish the monster. The effect still goes off, but the opponent's monster is banished nevertheless, which can come in handy. So with this, if it attacks and destroys an opponent's monster, or effect monster I should say, Drago Berserker gains that monster's attack and then it can attack again. So it's really great to put pressure on your opponent. And as for Geo Math Mech Final Sigma, I go into him a lot, especially if I have my Hop Squadron. So this guy, if in the extra monster card zone, is immune or is unaffected by all card effects. That includes your own, that includes your opponent. So Michion doesn't affect it. Torrential Tribute doesn't affect it because again, it's in the extra monster card zone. It can't be destroyed. It can't be affected by it. And if this card attacks a monster or into a monster and does damage, all damage is doubled. So if it attacks into, like, I don't know, we'll go with a 0 attack point monster. Let's say you attack into Michion if its effect was negated. You're dealing 6,000 points of damage because obviously it's 3,000 times 2, 6,000. So that's why I just found Sigma. I found Sigma very useful because say your opponent tried to play an effect to target a Time Lord, you just chain it with Final Sigma, get with your Hop Squadron, synchro into Final Sigma. Your Time Lord target's gone, and also you get a monster that's unaffected by card effects. I found it very decent to push for damage. And then I'm running 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Cyframe Lord Omega, because Omega is kind of decent because you can banish Omega from your side of the field during your turn, and then because you have no monsters, you can just normal summon a Time Lord for no cost. I found that very useful, and again, if you do banish Omega from your side of the field, you're taking 1 card your opponent has in their hand as well, so you're not only getting rid of Omega so you can summon out a Time Lord without no restrictions, you're also damaging your opponent's hand at the same time. And also during your opponent's standby phase, you can target a banished card in your target one of your banished cards and return it back to your deck. So, or back to the graveyard. So you could just keep recycling that Time Maiden. I found that really useful. And then I'm running Starlight Red Dragon Archfiend because I was like, I'm down to 14 cards on my extra deck. I really wanted to just find something, so I decided, you know what, I'll just choose Starlight Red Dragon Archfiend. Again, it's not a bad level 8 to go into because its effect is it can destroy as many special monsters on the field and deal damage equal to your opponent for each monster basically destroyed by its effect. So again, if you're working it with your Time Lords, they can't be destroyed. It's just a nice way to nuke the field. On to some Exceeders, guys. Now, I don't go into Exceeders all that well, but they're there nicely just in case you need to. So we're running all the nice level 10s. So we have Ravenous Tarantula, which is against monsters, against attack and defense equal to the difference between your life points and your opponent. So the bigger the number, the bigger attack points Tarantula is going to have. And each time your opponent would special summon a monster, you inflict 600 points of damage to your opponent, which again is very nice because it basically is forcing your opponent to not special summon really. And then you can exceed summon it into another monster, which we'll get to in a sec, which can then bring out the 7 sins, or you could just go straight into the 7 sins from Tarantula, because 7 sins can use any rank 10 or rank 11 Exceeds monster you have and go into this bad boy, which has 4,000 attack points, which is very nice. And you can attach 2 Exceeds materials and banish as many special monsters your opponent has, and then you attach one of those banished monsters to this card as an overlay unit. So it's kind of very nice. And if this face-up card in the field would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can remove a Exceeds material instead. So this guy is just great to just nuke the field and banish all the cards and go for that 4k damage. Then we're running one copy of Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. I decided to run this just again, why not? It's a rank 10. It kind of gives you a little bit of protection because you can target one face-up monster on the field, including itself, and it's unaffected by card effects. And Super Dora with 4,000 defense points and immune to all card effects is really tricky to get over. It's kind of there if you want to stall your opponent out, because if need be, you can do. And then that one copy of Pain Gainer, you use your Ravenous Tarantula to go into Pain Gainer, then you use Pain Gainer to go into the Seven Sins. That's the only reason you do it. I really don't use this for any other reason, but it's kind of like the opposite to your Tarantula. So each time your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can deal 600 points of damage to them, so that's not bad. Then we're running Utopia XX, or Number XX Utopic Dark Infinity, which is actually not a bad monster, because when a monster is sent by battle to the graveyard, you can attach one Exceeds material from this card and special summon it to your side of the field, which is kind of nice, puts pressure on your opponent, and it has 4,000 life points. 4,000 attack points, sorry, so it's kind of great. Then we've got one copy of Sky Palace Gondori Day, because Gondori Day can use one Exceeds material, target a monster your opponent target a card your opponent controls, destroy it, and you're dealing 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. And then we're running Rail Cannon Gustav Max, because you can detach one Exceeds material, deal 2,000 points of damage to your opponent, combine a Sandion and Michion, you can win a single turn with this. And then we're running Juggernaut Libe. So you can go into Libe by using any rank 10 machine monster. Obviously, Gondori Day and Gustav Max on machines. So you can play out of their effects, then just go into Libe and push for damage. Because Libe can use one Exceeds material, it will gain 2,000 attack points, making it go to 6,000. And it can attack all monsters your opponent controls. So just great as a beat stick, and it's there to help you push the game if you need it. Then I'm running two links. I am running Link Karibo because it does get our Time Maiden in the graveyard if you don't want to say her effect is negated. Like, yeah, you can still tribute her to go into the graveyard, but because her effect's negated, you can't search. So you could just tribute your monster to go in, or so you could just link summon her away into Link Karibo, and then you pretty much still get a monster to kind of save yourself for a turn, and she goes in the graveyard, so she's still not useless. And then we're running Psyframe Lord Lambda. I decided to go for Lambda because, say for instance, you have used your Gamma and your Driver. Say you just want to just link them off into Lambda because you've got another Gamma in hand, by all means go for it, because with Lambda you can still use your Psyframe Gear Monster's effects even if you control a monster. So again, say for instance you've got two Gammas in hand and you summed out one of them with Driver, just link them away into Lambda, you still got that monster negate if you need it, so that's the reason why I decided to put him in. And that's it for the deck, guys. I kind of ranted on towards the end, but the extra deck is kind of, make the extra wherever you want it, and the deck is, I just didn't find the machine part decent, so I took them out and just put in a lot of protection, a lot of stall cards, to stall my opponent while I get my Time Lords. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoy the deck. It's actually a very fun deck to play. People really hate it online. I think I only won legit twice because everyone either raged because they was about to lose or just flat out raged against Time Lords. So yeah, really annoying. The next deck we are running, guys, is a Harpy deck, so please stay tuned for that. And wherever you are in the world, guys, please remember to stay healthy, stay safe. See you on the next video. Goodbye.